Good evening, Steelers. Right, first of all, tell me if you can actually hear me. I'm hoping you can. I don't know if you can. I don't know. Just give me a shout and let me know. What I'll do is I'll put it in the chat, and then if somebody could just let me know if you can hear me. Right, okay. Tonight is back to Commands and Colours, a Great War. This is the Battle of Vimy Ridge. This is one of the original scenarios in the book, in the basic rules book. Loud and clear. Good stuff. Excellent. Don't have to worry about that anymore. This is, let me just find it again. We are on scenario number, find it, scenario 15, Vimy Ridge, the Pimple, 12th of April 1917. Alright, the Battle of Vimy Ridge was fought at the northernmost end of the Arras offensive. Elements of the 4th Canadian Division on the very northern flank faced a number of logistic difficulties, which they delayed the initial assault on the Pimple, which is the hill at the back, until 12th of April. This was a lucky break for the German forces, for the delay allowed the 4th Guards Infantry Division to relieve the 16th Bavarian Infantry Division, which had received heavy casualties by the Canadian preliminary artillery bombardment. The Guards managed to drive back the initial Canadian assault around 4 a.m, but the second attack at 5 a.m. met with better success. The 10th Canadian Brigade, with significant amounts of artillery support and assistance from the 24th British Division from the north, allowed the Canadian troops to break into the German positions and capture the entire Pimple by 6 p.m. The stage is set, the battle lines are drawn, and you are in command. The rest is history. Loud and clear, loud and clear. Broadsword to Danny Boy, broadsword to Danny Boy. So yes, this is the Great War, Commands and Colours board game. Some of you have watched my previous ones on the SOM. This one is a little bit later, a year later. I'm not going to go through the rules here because there's not much, a great deal of a point. If you played any of the Commands and Colours rules, you probably pretty much know them pretty well anyway. Just to say that the victory points are 7 points. Each unit eliminated is a point. The Canadian forces gain 1 temporary victory medal at the start of their turn when one or more of the units occupy any German trench hex in the front line. So this is this one here, so that's 1 extra. They also gain 1 permanent victory medal at the start of their turn when one or more units occupy any of the 3 hill hexes of the Pimple, so that's over there. The Canadian forces gain a temporary victory medal at the start of their turn for each town of Givenchy-le-Gorel is occupied. That's these 2 buildings here. And then the Canadian forces are also racing against time. Every time the German player may take a victory medal instead of taking 2 command cards when they played a recon command card. I've already done the shelling of No Man's Land. That's where the shells are. You can see the shell craters there. Also, reserve artillery has an advantage from the observation of being on the Pimple. So the side who controls the Pimple, has the majority of units on the Pimple, gets a free dice of artillery at the start of their goal. How many hexes Tiny Wargames is asking? What do you mean? How many hexes? How many hexes wide? How many hexes long? I'm not sure what you're asking. If you can clarify that, I can answer you. The Germans have got 5 command cards, 3 combat cards over here, 6 HQ tokens, and their reserve artillery is very high. It's up at 5. The Canadians have got 6 command cards. They've got combat cards, 3 combat cards, 9 HQ tokens. They've got reserve artillery, and they are moving first. So we're playing this with Stuka Joe's solo rules, which basically you roll a dice and it decides which cards you can see and which cards you can't see. Because the Canadians have got more cards than 13 by 9, you're asking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's 12 by 11. So just a rectangular. And because the Canadians have got more cards, combat cards, they get an extra card in their A position here. And the way that Stuka Joe's solo works is you basically roll a dice, and the number that comes up on the dice shows you which card you flip over on which cards you can use. So it kind of gives you a bit of choice, but it also keeps a little bit back as well for you. So in the first instance, we're going to reveal 2 of the cards, the A and the B anyway. So let's have a look at what the Germans have got. They've got Recon Centre and Attack Left. If you remember the Recon, they will get a victory point if they don't take 2 cards for their Recon Left. So they'll probably use that if they're able to. The Canadians, they have got Recon Left, Recon Centre in their A position, and then Infantry Assault in their B position. Design a map for it, yes, do. 3 combat cards as well, so they have Trench Raid, Tactician and Box Barrage. The Germans, on the other hand, have got Machine Gun Barrage, Button Bayonet and Box Barrage. These will come into play when you roll the Skull and Crossbones on the dice here. So first of all, for the Canadians, we've got to roll a dice to see which cards they're able to use. So A and B, so it's the ones that they've already got out. So we've got Recon Centre, Recon Left. That means a single unit on the left or in the centre can move. Or Infantry Assault. Issue an order to all infantry units in one section. They can move up to 2 hexes and battle, or move 3 hexes and not battle. I think that's probably the best one because they've got a lot of infantry. So if we can get those forward and maybe even up past the wire, or as close past the wire as possible. Well, there's 4 infantry in there. There's 4 infantry in there, and there's 4 infantry in there. So it might be, it's just basically a which one do I particularly want to push them forward on. The area with the most broken wire, there's 1 broken wire in each one of these hexes anyway, so that's not making much difference, is it? I'll tell you what, I'm going to push forward here so we can move 2 and then battle. So 1, 2 into the shell craters. They can still battle if they move to. So I'm just going to see what the shell craters do for me. Sorry, the barbed wire. They battle at -1 if they get onto the barbed wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push these onto the barbed wire. 1, 2. So they can actually fire still. 1, 2. And then same here, 1, 2. So then at least we can still fire at the Germans here in this trench. So this is the plan. So let me just get some of these dice out. So we've done our movement, and I'm going to fire with them all now at the Germans. And then that will be the Canadians' turn. So we've got, first one is range 1, 2, 3. 3 away. And for infantry firing, that is 1, 2, 3. That is 1 dice. Firing into trenches. We can still potentially hit them with the terrain. So we can still kill them with a soldier. But I think... Oh no, it's range and fire. If we get a burst, it'll kill 1 German. Let's have a look. It's a soldier. They can ignore that because they're in trenches. Evening, Andrew. Good to have you on board. So they can ignore that. So that was the first one done. So we've got 3, 2. These are firing 2. These they can ignore up to 2. So I think it's 2 infantry or 2 flags if they're in trenches. So have a quick look. Just check that out. Wire, trench. Ignore 2 soldier symbols and 2 flags from range combat. So the first one, the Canadians are basically looking for bursts here. So that's a HQ token at least. Nothing else. And a soldier is nothing. So the second one, 3, 2. Same again. So we've got a flag, they can ignore that. And a deadly die, which counts for nothing in ranged combat. Unless they're bombers, and they're not. These are all riflesmen. Oh, thank you very much, Tiny. That's great. 2, 3, 3, 2 again, all firing at the same range. So that's the soldier and the deadly die. Thank you very much, Tiny. That's very much appreciated. Happy with that. So now we've used up the infantry assault, so that just goes into the pile, discard pile, and they draw a new card. Because they're drawing a new card, it goes face down in that position there. They haven't got anything else that they could use, so we go straight over to the Germans. So as I say, the Germans, we've already got a recon centre and attack left, so they can choose A, B and C. So what we do here is we flip C, and this is recon right, so this is going well so far for the Germans, and they can choose any of those cards with that dice roll. So I think if they use a recon, they can at least I'm going to tell you, I'm going to use recon center, so it's only one card. Could they use, they might fire with their machine gun barrage as well, you know. All ordered units with machine guns may combat twice and will roll an additional dice. Yes, they're going to pay 4 HQ tokens to throw the machine gun barrage in as well. So we've got this machine gun basically just firing here straight away. So machine guns, I think, start on a 3. Let me just check 100%. Yes, they start on a 3. There it goes, 3, 3, and they're firing into the ones on the wire. Oh, you know, I forgot to take off a dice for the ones firing in the wire. Never mind. Never mind. So they've got 3 firing. However, they get an extra dice as well, and they can combat twice with a machine gun barrage. So rolling those dice, let's see what we've got. In ranged combat, we've got an infantry, a burst, a flag, and a deadly. The deadly does nothing in ranged fire, but the burst and the infantry does, so that takes those off. And then also it knocks them back 1 as well, so they are going to fall back to here. So we've got our second shot as well coming in from the from our machine guns. So 3, 3, 2, I believe, drops down to. So 3, 3, 1 actually. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. No, it is still 3. So they still get that +1. May as well keep up the hammering. And knocks them back, but they have been killed. So they've also taken a hit and a 2 casualties as well. So that's them off. So the Germans have got their first of 7 that they need. So that's going pretty well for them, isn't it, so far? And so the Germans then, instead of drawing 2 cards, they can, if they want to. Oh, one thing I forgot to do is take 2 HQ tokens for the Canadians at the end of their turn. Because they've got the recon card, they're just going to take 1 card and then take another victory marker for their instead for ticking the time down against the Canadians. So already the Germans are on 2 of 7. Right, so back to the Canadians. Oh yeah, and they will then also resupply themselves with their tactic card. They've got body armor, which is basically after a ranged combat roll, they can discard all soldier hits on the combat roll. So that's pretty good. Okay, we've got C, the Canadians, or this little squiggle, which basically means the one that will activate the lowest units, but they've also got their little special dice as well, so they could actually use any of these cards, but I'm allowing them to use the cards anyway without rolling the dice. What can we do? Right, so C is the one here. I just want to check that mechanic specifically. I did have these sitting about somewhere. Here we are. Tells me exactly what we can do. C or the lowest order count face up section card. If not already face up, flip the card in space B. Play C or the lowest order count space in spaces A, B, D or E. There are multiple lowest order count section cards. Choose one to play. And so the lowest order count is the recon one. So I'm going to have to use one of these. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do, I think I might do a barrage from oh, the Germans are too spread out, that's the problem. No, I'm just going to play a recon card because that's the lowest one that I'm allowed to because of the dice. And I'm going to use it on this mortar crew over here. Have we got anything we can do with that? We could change the section, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to use this mortar crew to fire away. Just check up there. They fire at 3, 2, 2, 1. So they're going to fire 1 into that German. And that's a man or a soldier, but they're in trenches, so they're protected, so they're okay. So relatively useless. So the Canadians can draw 2 cards, choose one and discard one. So we have assault right and attack left. I'm going to keep the assault right. I'm going to put that there. I don't know if I'm playing that exactly correct to Stuka Joe's actual rules, but works for me. And then they can either take 2 HQ tokens or a new tactic card. They're going to keep the ones they've got and take a couple more HQ tokens instead. Piling them up ready for those barrages. Now we've got the Germans. So they can choose A, B and C. So we'll flip A. So they've got outflanked, attack left and recon right. And again, I think they're going to play recon right simply because they want to get those cards, the victory points in as much as anything else. And will they do a box barrage? No, they haven't got enough points at this point, so I'm not going to do any box barraging. However, they're going to mortar, I think, on their mortar crew over here. So they're firing. What are we on with mortars? 3, 2, 2, 2. So 2 dice against the Canadians there. Let's have a look what we get. A burst and a man. So the burst is a kill. The man they can ignore because they're in trenches. They're taking a lot of hits, these Canadians. Poor fellas. So we drop into here. If you're watching, by the way, do say hello. Drop a like into the on the channel. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. So they're going to take a victory token. So we're already on 3. This game might be over before we even started. And over to the Canadians. So nice D&E, so they can flip these ones here. Also, say hello in the chat as well. Please do. Assault centre. All battlefield units in the centre section. We're going to take that one, I think. And I'm going to do a trench raid as well. That's going to cost 3 HQ points. So we're just going to stick those to one side. And the trench raid, the unit can move up to 4 hexes and close combat with an additional dice. After the unit is battled and take ground, if eligible, it may remain in its new hex or move back to its original hex. Terrain movement restrictions are ignored, except for impassable terrain. So that's pretty good, isn't it? So we're going to play that on one of these in the centre. And we've got loads in the centre to choose from. Evening, Steve. Good to have you on board. And which one should I give it to? Let's give it to them. They can pile out here, so they can go 1, 2, 3, and then do a close assault into there with that extra dice. And then everybody else is going to move. They can either move 1 and battle, or 2 and not battle. So I'm going to get these up into the shell craters first of all, and I'm going to fire with a machine gun in a minute. I'm just going to do all the moving first. I'm going to move these into the front line trench. Let's get these 1, 2 into those shell craters in the centre of no man's land at least. So we've got our close assault with that extra dice, and then we've also got the machine gun as well. So we're starting with that close assault. They roll 3 dice plus that extra 1, so that's going to give them 4 dice, and we're looking for quite a lot of stuff in there. We've got a HQ token, so they get that back. That's good. A flag which they can ignore, and a burst which they, in a close combat, is a kill as well. So that's one of the Germans down. The Germans fight back. They get to battle back on this, and they've killed, oh god, they've killed 3 Canadians there. Dear me. So they can either stay where they are or they can retreat back to where they came from. And I think they're going to retreat back to where they came from. So I think it was there. So they're going to pop in there. But then we've also got Machine Gun Harry. He's going to fire across. He's firing 3, 3, 3, 1 dice. See if he does anything. A burst, yes, and at long range it does, so at least they've halved that German machine gun crew down to 2 from 4, which is pretty good, I guess. Okay, so that was their tactic card. It was also their assault centre card as well. So that was their E card. So we take a new card here. And they also are going to take a new tactic card as well, Battle Fury. After a successful close assault, you can order 1 soldier unit. I should have played the Germans button bayonet, but never mind, too late now. Alright, the Germans. Well, C, or the lowest ordered unit card. So they've got reposition. Play alongside your command card, targets all machine guns and mortar units. Hang on, that's in the wrong pile. Took the wrong thing there. So that was the card I should have taken. I'm going to put that in the... don't know how that's ended up in the pile. Forward. There's 2 units in each section. I think a card just got mixed up there. But the Germans have got to use the lowest order card. Just opening the window. It's a bit warm up here tonight. Just opening the window and I'm back. So they've got attack left, outflank. Well, they can only use C. But outflanked is the only one that is going to order the fewest units, I think. Well, actually, no. Attack left is, because that's only going to order 3. So they're going to use that. And they can either move 2 squares and not battle, so they're going to bring those up there to the front line, and they've got that machine gun which is just going to fire, and then they're going to fire with these ones here as well. So let's see if there's anything that they can add into that. Not really. Button bayonet isn't great. So we're starting with the firing. 3, 2 against the British on the wire, so that gives them a HQ token and a retreat for the British or the Canadians, so they'll fall back to there. The other one's moved, and then we've got the machine gun at the back. 3, 3, 3 and 1 for those ones there. Fall back, so they've got to fall back as well. Oh dear. So that's their Germans attack left, so we'll put this back in. Now they can choose to take HQ tokens or a new tactic card, and they're going to take a couple of HQ tokens instead. Build them back up again. Hi Bjorn, good to have you on board. As I say, everyone, feel free to chat amongst yourselves. Say hello if you're in the chat. A few of you in there. And let's and go back to the Canadians. So they've got A, B and C, which is recon left, assault right, attack centre and attack right. Ooh, what should we do here? Maybe an assault on the right? That would push everybody in, wouldn't it? I think, yeah, let's go for an assault on the right. Is there anything they can add for this? Tactician, we'll swip it over. Box barrages for firing the artillery. And Battle Fury, after a successful close combat in which the enemy unit is eliminated or retreats, the target may gain ground and make a bonus close combat with an additional dice. If the target unit has already made a bonus close assault, it may gain ground a second time and a bonus gun. So you're basically just pushing forward, aren't you, with that? We've got the assault right, so let's go 1 and then battle into there. So we'll attack those Germans. We're going to fire with a mortar. Don't want to get these back on the wire. If they get into the wire, then they can't get forward, but at least I can fire with them. So I'm going to get them onto the wire and then fire at those Germans there as well. So that's the plan. That's the plan, man. So let's see. First attack is the attacking the Germans in the trench, and they've got a burst, a man, and a deadly. And in close combat, the burst and the deadly count. They can ignore the infantry because they're in trenches, so they get to battle back. All the same, and they're going to play butt and bayonet. I know I should have done it before I rolled the dice, but forgive me. Butt and bayonet, your defending unit is not eliminated or forced to retreat during a close combat. You can battle back with an additional dice against the enemy, so they get 4 instead. So they've already landed 2 kills and a retreat, and that other dice is another man. And because the Canadians aren't in trenches, that's 3 kills and a retreat. God, they're taking a hammering, so that drops them back to there. This Vimy Ridge attack is not going as well as as it could have done, but anyway. So we've got the 2 firing. We've also got a mortar as well. I haven't fired with a mortar yet, so I'm going to fire with a mortar first of all. So that goes 3, 2, 2, 2, 1. Those guys there. That's a HQ token. So they're building those up at least. If the game was all about that, then they'd be winning at this point. Then we've got the infantry firing. So 3, 2. First ones. They need 2 bursts here. Well, there's one, and they can ignore that other one. The Germans. So the other ones then 3, 2 firing at them as well there. So that's deadly dice does nothing, and a flag that also does nothing because they're in trenches. So that was the Canadians. So I'll just make sure I'm putting these in the right piles. I draw a new card, which goes onto there. Which is what they used, so we don't know what that is yet. And back to our Germans. Oh no, they choose a card or they take the HQ tokens. They're gonna choose a card. They'll take 2 HQ tokens. Sorry. So back to our Germans now. So they choose C, or the one that orders the fewest units that is face up. So that would be outflanked. That's 2 units on each side. So they're going to pull that out to the front line. 1, 2, and then they're going to fire with them, and then fire with the mortar, I guess, because this is blocking line of sight for anybody else firing over there. Oh no, they could bring these up to the front line. 1, 2, let's get that front line piled up, and we'll start with a mortar. We're on 3, 2, 2, 2 again. So firing at the British in that front line. Canadians, sorry, deadly dice and a soldier, so that's nothing. And then we've got them 3, 2 at the Canadians on the wire. So that's a retreat and a deadly dice. So they keep forcing them back. This poor old attack is not going in very well, is it? And that is then spent. So they draw a new card. That goes in there. No, sorry, that's their tactic card. That's their new card. So their tactic is messenger pigeons. They can order 1 additional battlefield unit in each of the other 2 sections when they play a recon probe or attack card. That's pretty good. You're what? Beyond, you're painting villagers. Vikings. Sorry, I misread that. Viking villagers. So that was our Germans. Let's see what the Canadians get. So they get E or less, which is a face-up tactics card, or the lowest order count card by section. So the one that is going to order the fewest units. Well, that's either going to be an attack right or attack centre. Let's go for attack right. 3 units in the right section. So let's go 1, 2, get them into that front line trench. Finally, let's get these over here, and then they can fire at the. Is this game worth a punt? Yes, definitely. I think it is. I mean, you make your own mind up by watching this video, but I certainly think it's definitely worth a punt. It's a great game. I just don't get to play it very often. That's the problem. And you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with artillery. That's my other thing. So we're going to use 5 artillery against the Germans, because I've got so many HQ tokens that I've got to spend them somehow. So using that, I'm also going to use the box barrage in that case. So that's another 2 tokens. They can ignore all battle dice terrain reductions. All deadly dice rolled in combat will also score hits, and flags cannot be ignored. So what we're going to try and do is put a box barrage down on this German machine gun here in the corner. So the way we do this is we roll 5 dice, because that's how many we've spent, and this tells us exactly where these where they land. And what happens here? They ignore all terrain dice reductions, and all deadly dice are rolled in combat score hits and flags. So let's see where they first of all land. If they get any doubles, they land on target. Oh no, they've got double 1. So I'm just going to lay these out so we know where they fall. They've got a 5, and they've got a 3, and they've got a 6. So no hits on any of the other units around them, but it does fall on there. So for every on target, we roll 1 dice. We need they score a hit on a deadly dice symbol. However, we also have, all deadly dice were rolled anyway. So we've got 2 dice to roll into the centre there. I'm going to re-roll that because it was cocked. That's a flag and a soldier. Because the Germans can't ignore cover in this particular one, they'll lose man. They'll lose a man. So that's 1 killed. It's quite expensive actually to kill 1 man. Never mind. It is what it is. So that's them done. That was their 3rd one. So we just got these guys here. These are just going to fire 3, 2 at that machine gun crew there, and hopefully finish them off. If we can get 2 bursts, that'd be great. It's a deadly and a soldier. That's nothing. Bjorn, what are you saying? You've only played the World War II version, and you love playing that. I own this version, but I haven't had a chance playing it yet. Yeah, Memoir 44 is a great game, as is this, but both are very different, obviously, because this is First World War. So, we'll chuck away our box barrage, we'll chuck away that, reset our cards. They've got gas attack. All units attacked in range combat cannot ignore flags, so that's good. That might be good to drive them out of the front line. And then we put that card in there. They're not taking HQ tokens. Oh, there's tons of different versions of command and colours. They're all over the place. AB for the Germans. We haven't got those, so we flip those over. Reconning force and probe left. I don't know. The Canadians are in the front line now. So is it worthwhile probing left and trying to force them out? I think it might be. So we're going to play probe left. And I'm not going to fire artillery because they don't really have enough of it. So we're going to move these into attack against those guys, and we're also firing with that machine gun as well over there. So that's the thing. So I'll attack first. Rolling 3 dice. Do they get any bonuses? I don't think they do. And that is... I'm going to re-roll that one because it was cocked. And again it was cocked. So that's a burst and a soldier and a flag. So they can ignore the soldier and flag because they're in the trenches. I think they only ignore one when they're in close combat in the trench. Let me just 100% check that. I think it's... Yeah, they ignore one soldier and one flag from close combat. But they can battle back. So what we've got here, soldier, a flag and a burst, so 1 for 1. And then the Germans are going to open fire with our machine gun. So that's 3 away, so 3 dice. So that's 2 deadly and a burst, so the burst is enough to kill another man at least. But he hasn't got him out of the trench just yet. Right. That was the Germans. Let's take that card back. They're going to take 2 more HQ tokens. Hold on to those. So the Canadians, now they get a victory marker for holding that front line, because if they're in the trench at the start of their turn, they get a marker for it. So we roll to see. A, B and C. So we've got recon left, attack the centre, and Russian rotation. Okay, we've got this one. Russian rotation. Issue an order to 4 units to reinforce success while rotate and pull back. An ordered unit may move up to 6 hexes, but must end its move in a hex adjacent to a friendly unit. Units may move through friendly units and terrain that is not impassable. Units may not combat this turn. So this is the chance to get some infantry up. However, the only one I've got in the front line are these guys, and they're a little bit... I can't really get anybody else in there. So I can't really use that one. It's a bit useless. We've got attack centre. So 3 units in the centre. We are pushing forward in this centre, so I might do that. Attack centre, and then also a recon on the left. Not so fussed about the recon on the left, so it's going to have to be an attack in the centre, isn't it? So we'll use the one from A. We'll use that up. And let's see, we can't get into the trenches unfortunately, but I can at least get them 1-2 up against this machine gun. I'm fairly sure you can't battle if you've moved 2 squares, 1-2, or even close combat. You can just move forward. So that's all I'm going to allow them to do. 1-2. So that's the 3 units. So they're all just pushing forward. Just to get into those areas. These guys are in shell craters, so they can at least protect themselves a bit. And I'll take a new card. That went into A. And do we take a new... Are we going to take a new one? No, let's take some more HQ tokens. I think I'll hang on to the cards I've got. So, back to the Germans. A, B and C. So, Reckoning Force, the Big Show and Forward. So, that'll be one unit in each section. Or 2 units in each section. I think that's probably going to be a better one, to be honest. Let's go with that, Forward. That might cause quite a few casualties on the old Canadians. So these are obviously going to attack into there. Machine gun's going to fire at them. Machine gun's going to fire at them in close combat. The machine gun over here will just fire at these ones here in the shell craters, and we will bring forward 1, 2 these into the woods there. So I think that's all I'm going to do. Oh no, then the mortar as well is going to fire over here. So I'll start with a mortar, just firing his 2 dice as always. And that's an infantry and a flag. They can ignore that, they're in trenches. So then we've got a machine gun over here. So 3, 3 against them in the shell craters. That's a flag and an infantry, and a shell crater allows us to ignore a soldier symbol and a flag from ranged and close combat. So they can ignore those, but the Germans get themselves a HQ token. And we've got the machine gun firing in close combat this time against the British here, the Canadians here. So that's 2 deadly dice and a burst. In close combat, the deadly dice score hits, so that's 3 killed. However, they get to fight back because they've not been wiped out. So they're going to use that. So that's a deadly dice, a soldier and a HQ token. So they only kill 1 German. There's still 1 German left in there. It's not going well for them, is it? Then we've got the machine gun over there is going to fire. So 3 of those British in the front line. So 2 soldiers and a burst. So a burst is enough to kill 1. The soldiers they can ignore because it's ranged fire. And then we've got the Germans attacking in. And that is 2 soldiers and a flag. They can ignore 1 soldier and ignore a flag, but that takes them out. They lose that. Means the Germans gain another victory marker. This is tough going, this. Germans are on 4 already, and the Canadians have yet to get even 1. And that's it. That's the Germans. So let's get our cards reset. They're going to take their 2 HQ tokens. Back to the Canadians. Let's see if they can do something. C, D and E. So Russian rotation, outflanked, which is 2 on each side, and probe the centre. Let's go with... Oh, I don't know. Is it better to go with outflanked? No, let's keep pushing on that centre. I don't know if you covered this yet. The game is originally a 2-player game with no included solos. No, I've mentioned Stuka Joe, yes. That's what I'm using here. So we've got to probe the centre. So there's 2 units in the centre. So, oh, do we get into the trenches to capture them? Yes, 1, 2, and then we're also going to attack here as well against that machine gun. So that's all that's happening. So we've got the attack on that machine gun. 3 dice. Oh god, that's 2 HQ tokens. The Germans are going to fight back with 3 dice. That's a deadly dice and a HQ token and a retreat. So the deadly dice takes 1 of these out. So yet another token for the Germans. They only need 2 more now and they've won this game. This is almost like the last one was going. Terrible, terrible attack. So the probe the centre goes back in and we get a new card in. Then they are... So let's see, let's think. Yeah, let's take a new tactician card. Return fire. That's better than gas attack. Gas attack's quite expensive for what they need. Yes, Stuka Joe's solo rules are quite good. There's a couple of bits I'm a little confused about using first strike and things like that, but apart from that, they seem to work very well. And back to the Germans. They only now need to kill 2 Canadian units, and they've won the game. Let's have a look. A and B, so Reconning Force and Big Show. It says, for every command card you have, including this, roll a dice. A soldier symbol orders an infantry unit, a deadly die orders a machine gun or mortar, and each flag orders 1 battlefield unit of their choice. They can collect HQ tokens for each HQ rolled. Ordered units battle with 1 additional die for the entire turn. Reshuffle the command deck and discards. It's not such a good one for the Germans, that. So they're going to play Reconning Force instead. So that's 1 unit in each of the areas. So these are going to fire at the Canadians here. The machine gun will turn its fire on the Canadians there, and then the mortar will start over here as well. Hoping the British cavalry you just painted up can suddenly come on in a flank march. I wish. No, they're for square bashing or something. Anyway, let's have a look. Two dice. That's 1 HQ token. And then we've got the machine gun firing in close combat. It won't kill them all, but it'll at least do some damage. So that's a deadly dice that factors in a flag they can ignore, and also a HQ token. So they've killed 1 British soldier there. The British are fighting back. The Canadians are fighting back. And that's a deadly dice, a soldier, and a HQ token. So that's, hey, the Canadians have got their first win there by taking out that MG. And they can follow up if they want to, but I'm not going to. But then we've also got the Germans here firing 3-2 like your man in the shell craters. So that's 2 infantry. And in a shell crater they can ignore a soldier symbol and a flag from range, so they lose another one. So the Germans now just need to get 1 more, and they've won the game. Right, that's the end of their turn. Reconning Force, that was a good one to play. So we'll stick that back down, and I don't know, let's get rid of body armour. That's not really doing much. Let's get a new card in, see what we've got. Trench foot. That basically just stops the enemy moving. So the Canadians now have got a 2nd temporary victory marker because they're in the front line. E is the lowest number of units to be ordered. Right, or face up ones anyway. Well, that's going to have to be recon left, unfortunately, for the Canadians. So we'll play that one because that will only order 1 unit, and it's going to be their mortar unit, and they'll fire it 3, 3, 3, 2 against those Germans there. So just 2 dice. Well, actually, no, I tell you what, they're not going to do that. They're going to use their artillery when they're forced into this position. They're going to drop it on them there, and they're going to use 5 HQ tokens because why not? Unfortunately, they haven't got box barrage this time, so they're just rolling the dice. Let's see what we got. 2 6s, so that is on target at least. Where is 6? 6 is there. A 4 misses there. A 3 there, and a 2. Oh, there. So at least they've got 1 hit there and 2 hits in each of those places. So we'll do the 1 hit. Deadly dice with artillery. Yes, but it's only on the target hex, unfortunately, so it doesn't count. And then 2 hits on that centre. 2 men, but they can ignore 2 because they are in trenches. So the artillery has been pretty useless in this game so far. What you want is those big strikes, really. So that's that bit done. So we'll take another card. That goes in there. Is that the marker flags going out to indicate objective reach, sending the reinforcements? Yes, exactly. So they can, so the aircraft can pick it up. The RFC, they can send forward the help. Okay, that was the Canadians. Oh, take 2 tokens as well. They'll take their 2 HQ tokens. Back to the Germans. They've got the same E. So the least number of units. So it is actually, they've got to play Big Show, which is the one they weren't too bothered about. But let's see. So we roll 5 dice. And we've got 2 infantry, 3 infantry, and they also get 2 HQ tokens. So they can order 3 infantry units. So that's pretty good actually. So we'll bring these over. They also get that extra dice as well for this. They'll fire the ones on the pimple, I think. And let's just want to bring these up into the trench. So the guys on the pimple, they're firing with 3 dice at the ones in the front line. So 2 deadly dice and a flag is nothing. And then we've got the other 2 here firing over, so 3, 2 are the ones on the wire. Deadly dice and a retreat. So let's push them back at least. And then it says reshuffle the command card deck and discards, and also reshuffle the command deck as well. So that's resetting all our cards. Give them a quick shuffle up. That's not going too bad, is it? How long have we been playing? 52 minutes so far. The Germans on the verge of winning at this point. The Canadians really need to get a bit of a move on, I think. So there we go. There's their card. Then we also reshuffle our combat cards as well. So we've got. Shall we keep them or give those away? I think. I'm going to get rid of messenger pigeons. No, I'm going to get rid of messenger pigeons, I think. I'll swap that for another card. So lice. Lice are attacking the target. Target unit may not ignore flags rolled against it. So we've got the Canadians. So again, they're on the E. So this is the lowest number of units. So attacking the centre will order 3 units. And outflanked will order 4, and Russian rotation orders 4 as well. So it's got to be the attack the centre. Well, we've got them there in position to attack. We've got these here, so I'm going to bring these forward 1 and then fire as well at them. And then is there any others that we can do? Is there anything else? I don't think so. This centre is a bit weak at the moment. They've got the machine gun. And so now I'm going to bring him back out of the way because we don't want to take too much damage. So these ones move forward and they're going to fire first of all. So that's 3, 2 for those ones in the trench. 2 soldiers, no effect. But then we've got the ones in the trench are attacking with a close combat. Ooh, deadly dice, and a soldier. They can ignore 1 soldier whilst in that trench, so they've lost 2 anyway, and they fight back. They're fighting. They've got a burst, a flag, and a soldier. They can ignore the flag and the soldier, so they just lose 1. So at least they're still in there, holding on, and they get rid of that, and they'll take 2 more HQ tokens. So back to the Germans. Same again, E. But there are no cards flipped over. It says if there's none or only 1 face up card in the display, flip any 1 face down card face up. So let's go with A. Assault the left. That's all the units in the left. Literally just what they didn't need. So they've got the machine gun and the infantry here. So they've got 3, 2, 1. they're firing with first of all, and that's all they're doing. Deadly dice does nothing. So that's them done, that's the Germans done. That goes in face down. They'll take 2 HQ tokens. And then back to the Canadians. So this is C, or the little one that orders the least. So C is ordering 4 units, Russian rotation, and outflanked is also ordering 4 units. Russian rotation is a good one, because they can order up to 4 units to move 6 squares, 6 hexes, but they have to be next to a friendly unit. They can move through friendly units and terrain that's not impossible. Yeah, let's go with that and get some infantry in, I think. So, but they can't battle this turn. But they can move up to 6, so 1, 2, 3. Let's get these up. 1 to there. So that's 2. Can we get these across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they can get them in as well, so let's do it. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can get them in there as well, so they're at least right up on the front line. And that goes there. We'll take a new one. And they'll get rid of return fire and they'll take a new card, Stretcher Bearer. I keep forgetting to play these cards, so I don't know why I have them. Strong entrenchment and modern weaponry favours a defence. Who would have thought? Well, they only favoured them for so long. They soon got through it after a few years of battering them. The Canadians did very well in the real Vimy, Battle of Vimy. Not so much on my refight of it. Anyway, so that was them taking a new card. So we're back to the Germans. D and E, so we flip those. Storm of Fire, should be Storm of Steel really, shouldn't it? And Probe Right, they probably couldn't get the what you call it, copyright. Or order 4 battlefield units to open fire and battle with an additional dice. They may not be ordered when an adjacent hex to an enemy unit, and they may not move when ordered. Or 2 units in the right section. I don't know which one's better here, because a lot of these Germans are now right up against the Canadians, so they can't actually do the Storm of Fire. There's a couple that can. Yeah, go on, let's do Storm of Fire. So, who can fire? Well, it's none of these. These can. So 3, 2. So that becomes a 3 because they get that extra dice. Infantry ignores and 1 hit. And then we've got the ones at the back. 3, 2, firing at the ones at the front line. Flag, and thingy target, HQ token, so that they can ignore the flags. To take machine guns requires grit and determination, absolutely, and a hurricane bombardment. Can they fire with that machine gun over there? Let's see. 3, 3, 2, 1, 1. So 3, 3, 3, 1. Yes, they can. So they're going to fire with that. That's another 2. We roll that. It's cocked. 2 flags. They can ignore that because they're in a trench. So that was the Germans. Not great. They should have really hung on to that. Onto that return fire then, shouldn't they? Could have fired back at them. Never mind. And the Germans will. Let's get rid of Trenchfoot. Get a new card. See what it is. Wire cutters. Anyway, let's crack on. C, or one that is lower. So forward is 2 units and outflanked is 4 units. So it's going to have to be outflanked, unfortunately for Canadians, because they could have done with the forward. Right, well, let's move these forward, and then they're going to fire with the mortar into that front line. So that's a HQ token and nothing else. It was an infantryman, so nothing. So they will get. I'll get rid of outflanked. Take a new card in. They will also. I'm going to get rid of Stretcher Bearer and get a new card. Counterintelligence. Take any discarded combat card into your hand. It may be played this turn as it would be normally played by spending HQ tokens. Now, that's pretty good. So the Germans. A, B and C. Let's see what these are. We've got Artillery Bombard, Recon Left and Probe Centre. It's time to do an artillery bombardment on the Canadians in that front line. That might be a good one. Probe Centre and Recon Left. Or should they try and shove them out with the infantry? The artillery's not been great, has it? No, let's go with artillery bombardment. So, yes, they're going to do it on the centre. They're going to do it. Oh, it's a bit of a tough one, isn't it? Let's put it on there. This time, spend 5 tokens and they get to roll twice. Because they've got artillery bombard, but they're also using box barrage as well. So that's another 2 tokens that they're going to spend. And finally get rid of it. They ignore all terrain dice reductions, and all deadly dice rolls are also hits when it's not on the centre. So the first one, and they're rolling 5 dice. Actually, it costs them 1 less because they're on the pimple, aren't they? Forgot about that. So let's see where the first ones strike. So 2 4s, so that's a hit. That's on target. We've got a 3, that's there. We've got a 2, that is there. And we've got a 1, so that's not there. Alright, so we get 1 hit against these ones here. So that's an infantry, so that's a kill. It is a kill, isn't it, with artillery? Yes, artillery hit, yes. That's them dead. And we've got the 2 hits in the centre. Let's roll those. That's a kill and a HQ token. Now they can't ignore their terrain because they've got box barrage on. So that's another kill there. So what we'll do is the Germans will fire at the same target, I think, with their second shot. Let's see what he does this time. 2 5s, so that's another one on target anyway. And that's there. And we've got a 1. No, another 1. Oh, that's 2 on target and then a 3. So that hits them as well. Still box barrage. So we're hitting our deadly dice first of all on the 3. Infantry is a kill because they can't ignore terrain. And they've got 2 hits from the 5 and then 2 hits also from the 2 ones there. So let's just see what happens with those. They can't ignore terrain. Deadly dice is a kill. Flag, retreat and 2 HQ tokens. Let's take those. So that's a kill and a retreat as well. So that artillery barrage was a bit better than the Canadians. They're going to retreat back to the shell craters there, I think. That was probably the best one they've done so far. So we'll stick that to one side, that's out of the way. And the box barrage also goes. So they draw a new card and a new card here as well. So they've got Mortar Barrage. Basically it's an additional dice for any mortar firing. Canadians, come on lads, step it up. A, B and C. So we flip these. Storm of Fire, Assault Left, Recon Right and Forward. Let's go with Forward. This is what they need. And they've got 2 in the centre, going to be attacking into those German positions there. And then they've got, oh, should we go in against them? Or should we fire a mortar at them? Come on. faint heart and all that. We'll do that and we'll fire the mortar against them as well. So that's those two. Now we've got two over here as well. Let's step these out a bit. Get them into the trenches and they can fire at those and also take some mortar hits. So right, we'll start on this left flank first of all. With the mortar, a deadly dice and a crater. That's artillery hit, no. Range fire doesn't count, so that's sorry, not crater, a HQ token. So that was a mortar. Then we got the infantry 3-2 of those Germans as well. That's a soldier and a burst, so the burst at least kills one of them. And then we're on to these ones over here. So we've got the mortar first of all. It's firing 3, 3, 1, 3, 3, 3, 1, 1. So 1 dice first of all. It's a deadly dice, that does nothing. Then we've got the attack by the infantry. Looking to get high, nothing. Just a HQ token. So they take that. The Germans fight back on that one. Let's see what happens. They can ignore those because they're entrenched. That's a soldier and a flag. Ooh, they survived it. But they get a HQ token. Then we've got our next Canadian attack here. Burst, burst and a soldier. That's enough to kill them. They can also then take ground. So they're going to do that. Then they've got Battle Fury, which they're going to play. 1 ordered soldier unit. After a successful close combat in which the enemy is eliminated or retreats from its hex, target hex may gain ground and make a bonus attack combat with 1 additional dice. If the target unit has already made a bonus combat, it may gain ground a second time and a second bonus dice as well. So that's cost us 2. So they're then going to attack the machine gun here. So that's 4 dice against the machine gun this time. What we got, a deadly dice is enough in close combat. Soldier, they can ignore that because they're in trenches, but they get 2 flags as well. So it's taken 1 off the machine gun. Can they do it? Who knows? Let's find out. Our last attack here is from these guys in the front. And what we got, deadly dice is enough. That's a soldier and a flag, they can be ignored. The deadly dice is enough to kill another one of those Germans. But they survive, so they get to fight back. Actually, they get to fight back against those as well, didn't they? Because they survived. So the first attack, a soldier and a HQ token, so that's 1 of them there. And then their second defence against the ones in the open. A soldier and a deadly, so that's 2 kills and another HQ token. More HQ tokens than they can eat. God, it's massacre. Come on, Canadians, indeed. Are the Canadians making a comeback late in the game? Oh, I don't know. It's pretty tight if they are. They've still only got 2 victory points, unfortunately for them. So anyway, they've used those up. And that, so they take another one of those. They will take a new combat card, button bayonet, so you do that after your opponents. And we're over to the Germans. A and B, recon left and probe left. Well, it's daft not to. They're going to play recon left because they don't have to take those cards at the end. They can just win the game anyway, but they're just going to do this and they're going to attack with them against those Canadians in that front line. And that has 1 kill but 2 tokens. However, instead of taking 2 cards at the end, they're just going to take 1 card and 1 victory token, which gives them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ends the game. That's it. The Germans have managed to hold on at Vimy Ridge. The Canadians managed to get in this front line at the front here, smash their way in at least with that Russian rotation, but the Germans held on. That was a great game, that, and that lasted what, just over an hour. Excellent stuff. I hope you've enjoyed that. I enjoyed playing it. Another great game of The Great War. An excellent game. If you haven't bought it, do buy it. If you do go and buy it from Plastic Soldier Company, tell them where you saw it as well. But yeah, that was an excellent game and a fantastic game. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you've enjoyed it, let me know. Drop us another comment in the chat. And I'll probably play some more of these now that I know that I can, again, stream from the loft, because that's where we're at the moment. It made it quite easy. So I'm happy to do more of these kind of things in the future, if you're happy to watch them, of course. So I'm going to sign out now. As I say, thank you for watching. Keep an eye on the channel for more live games. I might go a little bit more ambitious in the future with some more miniatures games rather than just these board games, because these are quite easy. But this, I just wanted to set this up and play this tonight, so there may well be something a little bit more exciting as well in the future. Maybe a game of square bashing or something, but we'll see. Alright, well, once again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope everybody has a good evening for the rest of it.